Coming up next on City Corner, we talk about fatherhood. Please stay tuned. Welcome to City Corner. I'm your host, Melanie Adams. Today we're talking about fatherhood, and joining me now is Kababi Bayok, who is doing an exciting project around issues of fatherhood. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, first, tell me a little bit about 365 Days with Dad and kind of how the whole idea came about.
Well, it came about wanting to take care of my own family. So, I wanted to sell the painting every day and try to sell it on Facebook. And my wife mentioned that I'd been wanting to do a series on Black fatherhood. So I decided to paint an image a day of a Black father present in his kids' lives and decided to call it 365 Days with Dad. And so that's how the project came about.
And so far, since January 1st, and I'm not doing the math in my head, but so you've done what you've been able to...
I've done 93 paintings. Yeah.
Okay, and you've sold all of them, because I know if you go to the website, it'll say sold on them, correct?
Yeah, people are prepaying in advance for certain days throughout the year. Yeah. So we're sold all the way through July.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Well, I think we have a few of these images that we were able to pull up off of the website to kind of show and just to let people know all of these are already sold, so you're just getting an idea. But this is one of my favorite. I think this one was called We.
Yeah, that one's called We. That's based on a painting I actually had in the shop that's real big, and I've always wanted to paint again. The other one had 3 kids in it, but I wanted to just focus on the kid and his father. And also, through the series, I'm going to be giving images away when I go speak to schools. So this is one of those that I wanted to do that I thought would attract kids' attention and be fun, and I could see it in the kids' rooms.
This one's so great because it's so joyful. Like, that's the first thing I thought of. You see a child having fun, the colors are wonderful. It just exudes, I think, joyfulness and happiness. I think moving on to the next one, which one do we have here? Oh, this one's great.
This is my wife's favorite. It's called A Special Dad Occasion instead of Dedication. So, yeah, this gentleman actually is another artist. I can't remember what state he lives in, but he sent this picture of him and his son. And about half of the pieces that I've been working on this year have been based on photos. Right. And so this one, when I posted on Facebook, got great response.
And this one, I almost picture a little girl holding the hairbrush. It's kind of like that, just singing in front of the mirror.
Yeah, I can't remember what I have him holding. I think it's like a cooler or something.
Right.
Yeah. So.
No, that's a great one. And moving on to the next one.
Yeah, and this is a piece somebody sent me, a family member out of Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
And that's actually a piece based on their trip to the botanical gardens.
Right. Well, that's, I think, one of the important things to keep in mind, that people were sending in images and purchasing paintings from all over the country.
In the world, yeah.
Right, because once you said
France and...
Oh, okay, so you're getting international as well.
Absolutely.
And this one coming
This
up?
one was one of those, every now and then people were just like, just do something, or they didn't respond once they paid to our request for photos, so I just came up with something. And just my own personal relationship with my kids, they're always on my shoulders, so that's one of those pieces, just based on that.
Well, and I guess moving forward then, and I guess we have one more before we continue to talk here. And this one I thought was just really, it was kind of peaceful and just kind of nice. And it was kind of I pictured the end of a day, picking him up from school, walking home, or just something really casual for this one.
Yeah, they're actually walking up an alley. It's a very nice, clean alley. But it's actually my photographer who's shooting all my work to document the series. That's her husband and her son. So.
Oh, great. Yeah. Well, and I guess how's the response been so far? You said you've sold 93, but I know you post all of them on Facebook, and are people just really excited by the work and what you're doing?
No, the response has been great. I have a lot of people who like and comment on each post that goes up. And also, since I've done this, I have a lot of people who just send emails just to talk about their good or bad relationship with their father. People just find this as a good forum to just send me messages. So I'm gonna take all that in, and I'm definitely gonna do several versions of books to share just what's going on, throughout the year. So yeah, it's been a great response.
Well, and I don't remember where I was, but or who told me, but someone's like, hey, Kababi's in Essence.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
they were all really excited. I think it was the April issue.
April issue, yeah,
Right.
10 things we're talking about or something like that.
Now, have you gotten any responses from that? If people kind
I've gotten a
of,
few.
kind
Most
of
of
checked
it
you out
has
on-
been people who have already been commenting,
okay.
on Facebook throughout the year. So I haven't paid attention or noticed if there are any new folks, but it seems like it's always a name that I've seen before in the comment section. So.
Now, talk a little bit about kind of after this. You said that you're going to hopefully put together a few books and things. One of the things which would be wonderful, which I know it's really hard to do because now all of these images are in individual homes, but it would have been great to be able to display a large number of them together, almost like the whole collection in a way.
Right. I'm going to keep between 30 and 40 of them.
Oh, okay.
Because I plan to do a book that has all the images in it.
Oh, okay.
And at each of those signings or shows, I want to have some originals so people can see the actual physical piece. But besides that, I'll also have prints that I'm doing of every day. So I'll have each one represented some way, either by book, by print, or by painting. So
And I
it'll be
want
arranged.
to go back to something you said talking about your interest in working with school groups. And I think I read an article where you are going into classrooms and you want to be able to provide the students with a piece of art. But how did that develop, your interest in terms of wanting to make sure the art reached the children?
Well, main thing is just on the message alone, since a lot of black fathers aren't physically in the home, it's kind of playing on words, the whole idea of having at least the image
Right.
of dad in the home. And because of what nature of my artwork, kids are attracted to it.
Right.
And I'm always invited to schools, so it just made sense to come up with posters that I actually give away. So that's one way of getting art in the home.
Right.
And also just a lot of black families just don't have art, so I'm trying to hit all those different situations with one wham. So.
And you used a really unique way of raising the funds for this project. Can you talk a little bit about that? Kind of, I know we're in the internet age and people are using the internet for everything, but you used a program called Kickstart, which I hadn't heard of until I used it. So can you talk a little bit about Kickstart and how that's worked for you?
Yeah, I set up Kickstarter to promote getting the prints done so I could start that. So, and that is basically, it's a website that creative projects put their project online, and then people go on there and pledge money to support the project. In return, they get something for whichever level of pledge that they do. So we did that. I was asking 8,000, we raised 15.
Oh.
And we had it up 60 days. So people around the country and a few people from France pledged. And besides that, I also keep the paintings very affordable. So
Right.
each original is only $200.
Right.
So that everybody can get it. And that's why they're selling so fast in advance, because people have known my work and they know it's not
Right, they know
that cheap.
that that's
so.
dirt cheap for it,
So,
right? It's very
because the whole idea was
expensive
just
for your
to, a lot of people just don't have money for paintings, and I want to make sure folks can start with something of their own family, something hopefully they can pass down.
Right. And I think that's an important part of the story that people aren't necessarily getting, is the fact that it is really reasonable, very reasonable for a unique piece of art. And I think we have a few more images coming up that we're going to look at from your collection. Yes, okay. And this one, I envisioned Barack Obama. I know it's probably not, but somehow that's what I thought of when I saw this one. But
Yeah, that was first day of school. And actually, there's a woman who has a day coming up soon who didn't send photos, and she did say, I want a painting of Barack and his daughters.
So that one will be
Obama's
coming
coming
up.
soon, it is. Yeah.
Next one.
And this one is a gentleman just wanted to have a painting for his son of all the men in the family. So that's
So which one commissioned the painting? The one in the
the
black
dad
or the
with
red?
the gray beard,
Oh, okay.
second from the bottom.
Bottom.
So his son, his do,d and his grandfather,
Oh, wonderful.
who just passed. So they're all in the piece. So he wanted to have something he could pass down to his sons.
Right. And again, people give you images if they have a specific idea in mind, and then you're able to paint off of those.
Right.
Correct. And then this one, I guess, learning to ride a bike here.
Yeah, I think this one I actually call Keep Your Cool. So that whole idea is, even though the kid was freaking out, the dad he still has it together, thus all the sharp, hard lines, everything's still tight, because the kid's just going to fall regardless.
Just making it a little easier for him. Then this one was one that I really liked, and this was a more recent one in regards to recent events that have happened.
Yeah, I mean, several people were asking me if I was going to do a Trayvon Martin, and I hadn't thought about it. It's never been one of those. I didn't really paint anything. I painted something after I got asked 12 times to do Obama when he was running for. I just don't like playing off something that's going,
Right.
because I don't know where to go with it. But based on the nature of the project, it just made sense to have that piece since it's such a big story and it's part of history. So I wanted to, and it's a piece that I'm going to keep for
is that one of the
for the
ones you're
traveling
gonna
show. The once I put the actual prints online, I'm going to what the money that's raised from that print will go to whatever foundation his family comes up with.
Oh, okay.
So
So
I'll wait to see how that, because I mean I could just pick some random organization, but I think might as well, if I use their son's image, might as well have to go somewhere where they would want to use. So.
Right, and that's exciting that you're already talking about an exhibit. So have you been approached by people to explore that idea yet?
But I'm not worried.
Right, but you have the paintings, you have them ready to go, and you can do that on your own.
If they're in the schools, I don't believe in traditional galleries. Has to be the only place you can hang your work. Anyway,
oh, right, yeah, you could go anywhere. Community centers, libraries.
Absolutely.
Sweet art.
That's right.
Pretty much anywhere. Well, I wanted to make sure you had the opportunity because you still have some days coming up. So you still have days left that if people would like to purchase a painting, they can still do that. So can you provide us with that information, what they need to do to purchase a painting in the future?
Well, actually, people go to my website, kababebayag.com, and on there's a caption, there's a bold letters that say order here. And if you just click on the order here, it'll send you straight to that link where you can pay for however many days you like. Okay,
and what is the wait period for now? So if I'm thinking like, oh, I really want to get this for Father's Day or a holiday or something, so about how many months out are we? About 2?
Well, Father's Day's out.
Okay, so you're like, you're not getting it for Father's Day. You'll get a voucher if you do it for Father's Day.
You can say I have a painting, here's the email showing your date, but people paying now are getting days in July.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good to know.
Well,
I think, the project is just so exciting and invigorating, and I love the way that it's daily, so it's almost like people look forward to it every day to see what the new image is. I know I'm friends with you on Facebook, so I get to see the new image every day as well. And so I think it's a wonderful opportunity, and I look forward to the exhibit and the book in the future. We'll have to bring you back when you have the book ready to go to talk a little bit about that. And
that'd be great.
And kind of what you're doing. So thank you again. And coming up next on City Corner, we're going to continue our discussion on fatherhood, talking with Chester Deans from the Fatherhood Support Center. Please stay tuned.
Traditional light bulbs actually generate 9 times more heat than light. Let's switch to Energy Star light bulbs and stop burning through cash. Saving energy saves you money.
Packers,
Vikings,
Red State, Blue State.
We come from different places.
Uptown.
But when we live united, we create real lasting change in the education, income, and health of our country.
United.
Real change won't happen without you. So give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Sign up at liveunited.org.
When tragedy struck Indonesia and Haiti, the world responded. The famine, war, and drought affecting the Horn of Africa right now is larger than both these crises combined, and the world should be paying attention. Text a donation of $10, but do more than donate. Forward the facts to everyone you know. Forward from our site, forward on Facebook, and forward on Twitter. We are the relief.
Experience St. Louis.
You promised me the world. Is this what you had in mind?
Every choice we make has a consequence. Help Earthshare and its members restore balance to the world.
Visit earthshare.org and see what you can do. EarthShare, one environment, one simple way to care for it.
Welcome back to City Corner. Today we're talking about fatherhood, and joining me now is Chester Deans, Director of Community Relations for the Fatherhood Support Center of St. Louis. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Melanie, you and St. Louis TV.
Well, great. Well, first of all, tell us a little bit about the Fatherhood Support Center.
Well, it's the Fathers Support Center. The agency was founded in 1997. We opened our doors in 1998. It's a not-for-profit organization, and we have what we call a comprehensive array of services.
Okay.
The Father Support Center in the city of St. Louis is known throughout the state of Missouri for promoting responsible fatherhood. Our whole mission is that we foster and strengthen healthy families and communities, foster healthy relations to strengthen families and communities. And the vision is that we believe every father to be a responsible father, to have what we call a cohesive family relationship.
Well, and I think there are so many things I want to get to, but I want to make sure we at least talk a little bit about your success stories. And I think we have some images that you were able to provide of some of the fathers that were in your program. So let's take a quick look at those. Okay, you said this was, I think, a graduation?
That was a graduation ceremony, and in each of the graduation ceremonies, we asked the families to take a group picture. Because many of them, you know, collectively, in this particular case, this man did not have a relationship with his children, and now he's got a group picture with his family in it.
Oh, that is a wonderful idea. Let's see, what do we have next?
This person here is really dear to my heart, and I won't call his name because that child and he were finally bonded together after he sought his joint legal physical custody. After going through the program, you know, this person came in with focus about what he wanted to do.
Right. And we will touch on your legal services during the interview as well. And coming up next, we have...
that's a gentleman out in play. That's what we call, you know, each class members are offered at least 3 bonding events.
Oh, okay.
The St. Louis Art Museum, some other you know, activities around St. Louis. And it allows the father to have an active event with his child for no cost.
Right. Oh, that's wonderful. So they were out in the park there.
Yeah. And here's another young man. This young man became very successful. He's turned his life around completely from being in the streets and pursuing other activities. And he immediately became employed, and he is furthering his employment and now seeking his education at this point.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think we have one.
That's one of the that's one of the children of the fathers. I'm not familiar with this person. You know,
right. It seems like he was at an event
yeah,
as well.
Yeah, exactly. He was at the service, right.
Well, let's talk a little bit about it. You brought up the legal service, and I think that was one of my surprises. When I looked at your website, I knew about the actual program because I had the opportunity to attend a session, but I didn't even think about legal services. So talk a little bit about the importance of legal services and how that relates to fathers.
Well, before I get to the legal services, I'm just going to digress a bit.
Okay.
Each man goes through 6 weeks. 7:45 to 4 every day, Monday through Friday. Okay, now in that, we provide our basic programming to him, okay? 8 to 12 is the program time, and then there's lunch, and 1 to 4 is the additional programming, like computer village. Each man goes through a computer program, there's a work practicum, and those that have the drug rehabilitation with their officers have to meet that. Those that have probation and parole, they meet those in the afternoon because we work those relationships out with the rehabilitation and or probation and parole courts. Now, in the 6 programs, one of them is a legal clinic. Besides family formation for parenting and the communication, there's the male wellness and health component. There's an employment program, youth development and leadership, and then there's the healthy relationship. The evening component is Father's Wrap. Many men are not able to come to class from 7:45 to 4. So we have an evening component on Tuesday and Thursday. So a man can engage, and if he can't make it because he's working in the evening, we share with the men that they can freely call in and get me. I facilitate that along with Mr. Williamson.
Okay.
who is a valued intern volunteer with us. But at any rate, the legal clinic is additional to you being responsible for you, your children, and your family.
So that's in addition to the 6-week
That's
program.
an addition.
Okay.
Well, that's an addition. See, the object is, now that we've provided you resources for your education and your family well-being, we know you got some issues with we got custody, visitation, the child support payments, the modifications, the judgments of paternity, you know, and we only do family law in the legal clinic.
Okay.
Family law, no criminal law. Okay. 2 years ago, we applied through Washington University's project called Scandalaris.
That's the Scandalaris Center.
And we competed in that, and we came out with the funding to initiate the legal clinic.
Oh, okay.
And we're the only agency in the state, only fathered agency in the state, pardon me, that has a legal clinic.
Well, that is wonderful. And one of the other things, you mentioned your award from the Scandalaris Center, but I also think last year you got a really large grant to expand. So can you talk a little bit about the areas that you expanded to?
We did. Yes, we did, Melanie. Well, fortunately for us, Mr. Sullivan, myself, and Ms. Sherry Tillers, our managing director, and we have put ourselves in position with the state and on the federal site to to promote what we do.
Right.
And when the project, when the funding came down, we were in position, and President Obama's budget had been reduced from $500 million to $120 million. Out of that, we were able to garner $1.5 million contract for Pathways to Responsible Fatherhood.
Oh, okay.
And in that, as you just said, it just allows us to expand our vision and a mission to impact and empower more men. We have added 2 additional sites. Okay. We're already, our headquarters site is at 4411 North Newstead. It's in the Prince Hall Family Support Center. Right. And since a year and a half ago, we added North County location so we can impact the men in North County. It's at 2725 Concord. It's in the Lutheran Church for the Living Christ. But since then, we've added 2 other community partners. One is Better Family Life, and the other one is an Employment Connection. So we run 4 programs with the same curriculum, the same goals and premises and objectives and outcomes, so that we can impact more fathers and get our measurements and outcomes for this federal contract.
Right, and probably one of the things I probably should have asked a little earlier, tell us a little bit about your typical client. Is there an average age? I mean, so is it 16-year-old fathers, is it 30-year-old, or does that not really matter?
Well, it does to a degree and it doesn't, because what we also are working on in our youth development piece is the father-to-be.
Oh,
there are some fathers, because the youth development team goes into the schools right now. We're in some schools, in junior high schools, we deal with the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Right. And some of those that are in junior high, on the high school, 16 and 15, they're female partners or fathers-to-be. So, but with that said, though, the age range is now really, for them to come into the adult class is 17. Okay. Okay, but we have men up to 62.
Oh, okay.
And but many of them, have made poor choices, Melanie. Many of them are ex-offenders, substance abusers, and 70% to 72% of our men are former felons for any particular crime. And then on the other side of that, we have some professionals who have just made poor choices. Then, they have just disconnected themselves away from their children because of the relationship with the mother, you see. There are so many dynamics to what we call a man being responsible in his behavior. And even myself, I had to learn that, when I was younger. Right,
and I think, unfortunately, it's sad that I think that you have to go into the high schools, but I'm glad that you are, because I think that pre-work really will help your job later on. So you're looking at these 15 and 16-year-olds, you won't have them in your program when they're 20, 21, because they've already had the pre-program.
And we're also engaging with the Division of Youth Services, DYS. For those children as well.
Right, and I think we were talking a little earlier, and you mentioned you have a new program coming up with the courts that I wanted to make sure you had an opportunity to talk a little bit about.
Well, things are, the agency is in hyperactivity, because we planted seeds back in 2000, 2002, and now they're coming to fruition. This whole piece with the Fathering Child Support Court and having the city of St. Louis having an opportunity to implement one is very powerful. it's just very powerful. There's a piece of legislation that's really connected with this. It's Senate Bill 140.
Okay.
And Senate Bill 140 was signed by the governor in July of 2009. Our agency took the lead on that to advocate for that whole position. Senate Bill 140 is about the provisions, modifying provisions of criminal non-support.
Okay.
Out of that piece, it says that each circuit in the state of Missouri has an option to open up a fathering child support court.
Oh, okay.
And really, it should be a parenting child support court because there are some mother parents
Right.
that have child support issues too. And so right now there is 3 of them active in the state. We would hope to be the 4th one active in the state due to this funding stream that will allow the city of St. Louis to implement, and the Father Support Center will be in position to help that process go forward because of the work that we've already done and our ability to do assessment and provide parenting programs to men and get them ready for their responsible behavior as a father.
Well, in our last couple of minutes, I just want to make sure, because I know one of the things that's really important, because people always want to know how they can get involved. So are there opportunities with your organization
Yes.
for volunteers? And can you
Yes.
talk just briefly a little bit about
Well, the
those?
volunteerism piece, Melanie, is we always need that. Our board of directors is also looking for volunteers. The staff members are also looking for volunteers. We have folks that come in from different organizations, community-based organizations, professional organizations. Take, for instance, the Urban League and Better Family Life. There are certain young people that volunteer to do work for us to help with whatever task that we might have. And then we also need a male to mentor our fathers that have graduated. That's one of our most difficult pieces, the mentor piece, because the bonding piece that happens after a man graduates and another man, if they don't know each other, is just very difficult, because if you can't connect with that person and you don't meet him the first or second time, sometimes we give up on them too fast. And these guys really need a second chance. These men really need a second chance. And so the mentorship, and then of course for those who want to volunteer a donation or make a contribution, we will take that.
Okay, well, great. Well, thank you very much for joining us today here on City Corner. We're excited to learn about all the great things Father Support Center is doing. And thanks again for joining us, and see you next time on City Corner.